Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I am super happy to bring this video to you this week. I am lucky enough to be doing sound design for the new Nina synth by Melbourne Instruments. And today we're going to create a patch. I'm going to go over some of the features, but more I'm just going to show you how I go about sound design on a new synth. So this is the one that we're going to make today. So this is the new synth by Melbourne Instruments called Nina. This is a pre-production model, so if you order one from them, it's going to come a little bit different. I think they said the faceplate is a little bit different, and obviously it's going to have a load of updates in terms of firmware and whatnot. But let's just go over some of the features just in case you're not familiar with it, and we can get into the sound design. So it is a 12 voice poly instrument. I've got a little keyboard off to the side. It has motorized pots, which is, at first I thought, that seems kind of cool. But once I got into sound design and started playing around with some patches, I really saw the value in that, especially when it comes to the morph, which I'll get into at the end of the video, and I'll show you a little demonstration of the morph. And just if you don't want to wait till the end of the video, it allows you to load 2 presets in, so you can make any 2 patches. You can set one to A, one to B, and then just morph between the 2. So that's really good if you've got something that's really crazy and something that's a little more chill. This way you can morph and have tons of modulation going as it goes and morphs between the 2 patches. There are loads of modulation options, so I'll obviously get into this more as I'm making the patch, but if you go over and you click the mod, and then you can see here, this shows you where all the modulation is going to, and you can see the motorized pots in action there as it goes through. It is 2 analog VCOs and a wavetable for oscillator 3. It has built-in effects. We have a noise oscillator, which they've made this super cool kind of ring modulated from oscillator 1 and 2, which I've been using a ton of. It's different from what I have on a lot of other synths, so I'm just kind of rinsing it out a ton. It has a drive for the filter, and it also has this overdrive, which will give you about 10 dB more of drive, which is awesome as well. That's about it. So let's get into creating the patch. Exit. We'll go to load, and we're just going to load a blank. So now if I play, load, load. Now if I play, just super simple. So let's turn oscillator. So now we've just got the single. You can see here it has width and then it has triangle. Let's actually go this, turn this up. So that's triangle to sawtooth, and then you can blend again. So turn this. Then all the way to the square. And then you can kind of get that pulse width sort of sound there. But for this, we're going to go triangle, we'll go up, and we're going to keep it super, super simple there. So before we get too crazy into routing and modulation and everything, let's go to the voicing page. So we'll go layer, and then this brings us to the voicing, and then we can come along. Want to make sure unison is set to poly. Unison voices, we want to actually thicken up the sound a little bit. So let's click edit, and then we're going to just change this. And you can't really see, but it has like haptic. So every time I go to the next one, it's not just sort of free flowing like it is some of the knobs before you actually sort of get the assigning. So that's really good for being able to get more precise with the numbers there. So we're going to set this to 5. Click edit again, and then detune. We're going to go edit, and then we'll go to 12. Now, you can hear it's kind of thickening up the sound a little bit more there. Next up, oscillator 2. We want to bring up the volume on that. We're going to go to about 55. And this is the way that we can just, instead of touching here, we can then, I'll just show you a different way to do it. So we can do blend is at 0 there. But if I edit, and you can see here, we know what we're changing. But we're going to keep it at triangle anyway. And I think the width we're going to bring it down to 29. There we go. Next up, we have the noise oscillator. So if I turn these both down and then start to bring out the noise, it's pretty what you would expect. But if we go along and change it to the XOR, it's like another oscillator. It has that ring modulated sound that I talked about earlier. And I've been using it probably way too much, but I think it's amazing. So we take that off, and then we're going to turn down the volume for the noise to about 50. And then actually we'll bring it down a bit more. Bring out oscillator 1 again. And then oscillator 2. So now we got a thicker sound just by using the 2 oscillators and the noise oscillator there. Next, we're going to shape the envelope generator 1, which is down here, and we're going to use this to control the tuning on oscillator 1 to kind of get that rising sound. So for that, we're going to set the attack to 35. Decay is going to be all the way down to 0. Sustain is at full, and then release is at 0 as well. While we're here, we can set the envelope generator 2 to which is also the VCA, which I've talked about before, which is effectively like the volume for the synth. So let's turn that up to 40. We're going to have the decay about 65. Sustain, but down around 40. And then the release just up a little bit so we don't get any clicks at the end. So at the moment, it sounds like this. So it's a cool sound, but I want that sort of rising. So for that, we're going to go to mod. And then these are all of our modulation sources here. You can see envelope generator 1, 2, envelope and whatnot. And then from there, we're going to select, we've already got selected envelope generator 1. And then we're just going to go and touch what we want to modulate. So for this, we want the tune. So if we just have the one single oscillator going, and then you can see as I go up, so kind of gives that pitch up. Now, to get out of the modulation mode, obviously you just push mod, brings us back to everything. So we can see where all of our controls lie. Again, you can see everything, and then back to the original patch rather. So if we now play the music, so that's just the one oscillator going. Now if I bring in the other two oscillators, and then bring in the noise, bring down the cutoff a little bit, then on top of that we have the drive and overdrive. I don't want to put the drive on. When I created the patch originally, I just had the overdrive going. So you can hear it starting to come together. And then lastly, what we're going to use is the effect. So if I just touch the effect, you can see it brings up the options here. I already have a delay selected and an effect level. So if I just increase it there, you can see again increases the number here as it was in there. So and there's the patch pretty much there. So what I lastly wanted to show you really quickly is the morph between two patches. So let's go, and we'll go to load, and then let's select, we can do 2. We got 2 as the, you hear that's a different patch, and then one of AB. So we go, and then we'll choose the patch that we just made to load into B. And then if we go out of load, and you can hear that morphing between the two. Obviously it doesn't work as well because we have the pitch ramp. So let's choose something else. We can go AB, load. Let's go with this one into 1. Pretty damn cool. So hopefully I've showed you a little bit of what this is capable of. Obviously it's so much more, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to see some more from this synth, feel free to leave a comment and I'll endeavor to show some of the other patches that I made for the preset bank for this synth. If you want to see some of the other videos, you can follow the links or just go to the YouTube channel and see what other videos I have available. And hopefully I've inspired you to create something today. So until next time, see you later.